did so.
Alright people, this is Sakmeister1982 here, coming to you from the UK, bringing you some real world fly fishing on the PC. I'm a massive fan of fly fishing. I've discovered it about a year ago. It's my favourite sport, and I'm really enjoying learning to fly fish. And I found this video game. I've got the demo version at the moment. I'm looking to get the real version. It's actually quite expensive for an old game, but there is no other fly fishing game or dedicated fly fishing game that I'm aware of. You see, I'm moving the rod there with my mouse. I'm just gonna put the back cast and pop it forward. Okay, on we go. The casting mechanics are actually quite difficult with a mouse. Let's try going. That's a bit better. It's going to let it drift into the current, and as it's a bead head, it's going to sink. Let's retrieve. There we go. 2 to 3 inches at a time. Perfect for hare's ear. I think we've got a fish. There we go, finally. I love the way that this game actually handles fish. The way the rod reacts is quite realistic, especially on a light fly rod. I'm using a 6 weight here, 9 foot, just like I use in real life. Yeah, so let's bring some line in. There we go. So we're coming into the leader there, and he's just surfaced. As he's fighting away. Rod's bending like a mofo. There he goes. Let's get Rod. That's a rainbow. He's jumping. There he goes. Bring him in. Oh, luckily I got a barbed hook. I almost lost a fish there. Ooh. So it's normally rainbows who jump. So let's reel the line in. God, he's still going, isn't he? As soon as they see the net, they all often make a last dash. And who can blame them, right? There we go, in, and then up. There we go, brought him in nice and easy. So it's a rainbow there. Good stuff. Right. And there he goes, he's swimming off, released. See, a lot of the time on river fishing, you kind of let the current take your fly. Whereas in still water fishing, you very much retrieve yourself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change my tackle. Leaders, shot in, rods and lines. Going to go for a floating. Back to the yellow line. Fly box. Let's go for mayfly. Okay guys, here we are with a real life fly fishing. I've got a dry fly, a mayfly on. So let's let some line out and drift into the current. Going up the far bank there. Wow, straight away. I thought the line, that was weird. It was going against the current. So there we go. Oh, look at that bend in that rod. No feeling in the world like when you've got a nice light fly rod, just like I use, a 6 weight, 9 foot, and that rod just doubles over. I caught, like when I caught that 7 pounder, which I posted on YouTube, man. It's awesome when rod bend in action, as they call it. There we go. And to say I've got a floating line on there. As you saw me with a floating mayfly. I think probably your floating line is the most versatile fly line you can use, because you can fish all depths with you know, with a floating line, no problem. Just put a bead head on, or you wait for it to sink and you can retrieve at any depth. Also, if you see a trout rising, you can quickly whip out your fly line and cast to where the fish are, which you can't do with a sinking line. You have to retrieve it first. You know, floating line, if you see people who fly fish a lot, when I first started, I had a lot of success on fast sinking lines with quick retrieves, but when you see people who fly fish a lot, most of them use floating line, and I'm only really starting now to figure out why they do that, you know. Very, very versatile. This fish is going some, isn't it? Look at that tension go. Let's bring the rod down and reel some line in. There we go. Oh, it's still going. Bendy, bendy. Yeah, I try to use floating line as much as possible now. You know, you can have fast, you can have floating line which floats on the top. Intermediate, which when you retrieve the fly, it's about 6 inches under the bottom or 2 inches under the bottom. It slinks slow. And you got fast sinking line, which is used for reservoirs, for things, you know. But these things you learn with experience and over time. Come on, in you get. Might be a decent fish, man. Whoa, okay. So lucky I've got a barbed hook on. Just let the line go slack. If that was a barbed hook, I would have lost that fish then. So I think this is a decent fish. The way it's fighting would suggest so. There we go. Right, we're on a really short line now, so let's just... Nice and easy. Oh, he's decent. Don't want to snap him up. Come on. There we go. So I can't see because of the screen resolution. So what is that? 17.96 inches. Well, we don't measure fish in inches so much here at off he swims there. We do it by weight. So I don't know. All I know is that was bigger than what I've caught before. There we go. And I think I'm in again. There we go. Jesus. That was some quick stuff. Rod bend in action, folks. Rod bend in action. I mean, it feels like fly fishing, but I don't have it quite right. I mean, you kind of let the fly float a lot, which I suppose you do in river fishing, but as any fly fisherman would tell you, it's very much on how you retrieve and how you present the fly. You know, that's why fly fishing is so great, is you retrieve it and you get a slamming bite. There we go. I launched it out the water then when I raised that tiny little rainbow. So for example, if I was now to change, there off he swims, if I was now to change my rod to sinking line, okay, and go with maybe, what should we go with? Let's go with your own time. What's this? Drown mayfly. Let's go with a nymph. Go with my favourite fly. Good old hare's ear, bead-headed hare's ear. It doesn't matter where I've fished. When I'm trying a new water, I will always stick on a hare's ear. It imitates so many different natural nymphs in the water. you put on a hair's ear, you're just as likely to catch as any other person using anything in that water. It's such a versatile fly. Really great fly. I highly, highly recommend hare's ears. You can pick them up on eBay for like £3 for 3 of them, man. Oh, I think I'm in the bank. It's a fast flowing stream there, guys. I can't really see that well, actually. There we go. So I'm retrieving that on the wet fly line. See if I have a take. Precisely bugger all at the moment on this. Still retrieving like a son of a bitch. Not a sausage. Caught on the bank, I think. There we go, that's a better cast. But again, not a sausage. I just don't think. Oh, bloody hell. Just as I say that, I hook into a fish. And I keep doing that, slackening my line. If you don't know what you're doing, if you've got a barbless hook, that is the quickest way to lose your fish, is slack line. In fact, you should never have a slack line, to be honest. You need to keep your line tight when you've got a fish on. Now, the dry fly fishing does feel like, you know, a little bit like you're dry fishing on moving water, but the wet fly fishing doesn't feel quite right, you know, just drifting it down the river. There has to be some level of movement, you know, from me. I have to be retrieving that, pulling the line in to make the fly move. Just drifting it. Whoa, okay, that's a better fish, actually. I haven't had any fish kind of hit. Whoa. About to say, I haven't had any fish initiate the drag system on my reel yet, so let's pull this in. So I've got my rod low, so I'm not putting too much pressure on there. It's just going to allow me to land this, to get some, make some ground. There we go. Pull in some line in. Put a bit of side strain on the fish. Ooh, look at that. Rod bending action, folks. Let's go a bit close to and reel some line in. So the problem is, the less line you have out, the more likely a fish is to snap you off, because there's less stretch in your line. I've done that multiple times. Hooked a fish in close, a big fish, and they give it their full welly, you know, when they're not tired, and they just, you know, snap your line. You know, lack of stretch. God, it's better fish. I'm going to be pissed if I lose this. Let's start putting a bit of pressure on him. Whoa, okay. Too much pressure. Well, at least I've caught one on sinking line as well. You know, not necessarily always going to land a 20-pound, catch a 20-pound fish jumping out for flies on the surface. You know, the bigger fish tend to be mooching around on the bottom. Oh, Jesus, that is a decent fish. Come on. Man, this fish is going. Look at him go. I'm going to have to put some strain on him at some point. There we go. This fish. Still got some fight in him. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Come on, Sak. There we go. Now, that's got to be bigger than that. Let's have a look at the fish records. New record. 17.78 inches. Bead hairs here. Well, beginner level. Okay. I don't mind being beginner level. I'm learning. There we go. Off he swims. And that's a quick look at real world fly fishing. Many thanks, folks.
This is my boomstick!